start off by saying congratulations on such a huge accomplishment.
Thank
What
you.
inspired you to create a story like this? Was there a particular event or a story or a personal experience that inspired the storyline?
I can't say that anything inspired the storyline per se. It all started with the character.
Okay,
I grew up loving James Bond movies, and James Bond was cool, but I always liked the Bond women better. And
fair
so,
enough.
fair enough. So over the years, I just wanted to come up with something that would embody that kind of character. And so yeah. So basically, I came up with the character. Oksana actually was the muse for that character, Ukrainian, 6 foot tall, and so yeah. So it came from the character came first, and then a script that I wrote a while. The original film was called Rise of the Phoenix, and it was
Okay.
a yeah, and it was a totally different script. It's about this woman who's a mysterious woman working in Latin America in a church kitchen, and she befriends this homeless boy whose sister's kidnapped by human traffickers, and she decides to all of a sudden you realize she's an assassin, and she decides to help him, right? So we tried to raise the financing for that for a while, and we couldn't get it off the ground. It was just too big of a movie. So I'm like, we're scratching our head, like, how can we do something to get introduce the character to the world? I'm like, well, what about when she first arrived in Latin America? Maybe do a prequel, and we'll make a small film that takes place at a house. And so and so that's kind of how it became. And then, but the theme, I guess, is always that there's this assassin who's been killing all her life, who can't stand kids, and all of a sudden she's put in a situation to protect kids and family and stuff like that, right? And
Yeah.
she forms a bond. And so you take the polar opposites and you put them together and you come up with a nice story, right? So
Yeah, definitely. And I love that you're talking about the themes of family and bonding, but also the action that obviously goes on in this. As a
yeah.
filmmaker, how do you find the perfect mix to make sure it's not too much of one or the other?
By following your heart from the moment you lay pen to paper, just letting your heart guide it. I think today too many of the filmmakers and there's a lot of great new filmmakers out there, but they grew up on The Matrix and
Okay.
and other action extravaganzas that were just nonstop action, right?
Yeah.
Superhero movies, right? And I grew up, in the 80s and 90s, so when movies were about storytelling first and then the action was the gravy, right? And the frosting on the cake, right? And so yeah, so to me, it's all about creating a complex story with characters you care about. Because if you don't care, then the action is just action. It's just you're on a roller coaster ride. But if you feel emotion throughout the journey, that's the one how that's really to me what movie making is all about. I want them to feel as well as enjoy the excitement and the peril and stuff like that. But
Definitely. There are so many well thought out action sequences in this. I'm wondering, is there a specific scene that you're particularly proud of? And what was the creative process behind it for you?
well, the big one is the night battle at the house. Obviously, that's going to be the big showpiece of the film. Probably people will talk about. I wanted it to be real. I wanted, nothing to me is worse than seeing an action movie where the audience is like, that wouldn't happen. That's not believable. How can this be reasonably believable? A real assassin, how would she get through this situation, right? And
Hmm.
so and so I came up with the idea about the lights and blinding them. And I did the research because when I go to the bathroom at night, sometimes I can't, after I turn on the light and go, I can't make it back to the bed, right?
Yeah.
Seriously, that's how it kind of came up, right? And so I figured as I did the research and it blinds you for about 10 seconds, and that's enough to take some people out.
Hmm.
So I came up with that idea, and then I actually, came up with the choreography for how she would take them out if they were coming through towards the house in a pyramid, and she attacked the point of the pyramid and kind of worked her way through, and like the first two, three guys wouldn't even know she was there and so forth,
Hmm.
and so but yeah, so I'm really proud of that sequence. I woke up in the middle of the night sleeping, and it came to me how I can make this somewhat believable. And I gotta put my iPhone out and just start acting it out as if I was her going through the guys in my underwear. So
So we could see you in an action movie at some
Yeah,
point.
I actually have it. Well, I don't know about that. But I could maybe one day I'll post the iPhone thing of me actually acting that sequence out.
I would love to see that. And I know you said Oksana was someone that you thought of for this role, but she was also a co-writer on it. What was that process like of having your script, but also getting her input on what this character became?
Right. Well, she was kind of she's been my muse for a while. We've known each other for a long time. So I don't know if you ever saw The Russian Bride, but we did that one together, and she was the muse for that. And I did another movie called Savaged, which was also called Avenged, where she was the muse for that. But she didn't do the film because she didn't. It was too violent, she said. And so,
Okay.
yeah, it was. Well, it's a horror film, and it's pretty grotesque at times. So anyway, bottom line is she was the muse for these all these projects, and so it really comes naturally working with her and collaborating, coming with ideas. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Definitely.
And she's perfect. I mean, she embodies the character, like I said, it was
Oh yeah.
tailored for her. That's why she does it so well.
Yeah, definitely. And it shows on screen, which is great for you guys. But
Yeah.
apart
Yeah.
from the writing and the action sequences, I know that music and score is a huge part of film as
Yeah.
well. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering if you could describe this film as a whole in one song, what would it be?
Describe it in one uh 9 Inch Nails, I want to fuck you like an animal.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, it works. But
Right? If I could, yeah, if I had to choose a song to do the commercial to the trailer to, that's what, yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
we'll see that for the
Yeah.
trailer. Is that what you use for the trailer? Is that a hint?
No, no, no. That Lionsgate did the trailer. Yeah.
True. But you have so many films in your catalog. I'm wondering, where does this one fit in and how does it differ from previous work that you've done, in your opinion?
I should have done this one first.
Really?
Because yeah, because all my other films, I'm very proud of them, but they appeal to a small group. You know what I mean? Like the first one was a rape set, not the first one. Lana's Rain, that was years ago. That was my first like student out of school film, but so I don't count that as far as the learning process. I believe in three strikes you're out. Okay.
Okay.
So, and if I did, I'd be dead. I already been done on the last film. But I figured there was like 10 years between those, my first film and then my next three. So I figured it's a new game. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway, bottom line is, I realized that action is my strength throughout the process. Even Savaged, even though it was a horror film, it was a rape revenge film. It had a lot of good action in there, and that's what the standout on the film. And then The Russian Bride, it's kind of I wanted to go a little bit like towards The Shining, but then it ends like a Tarantino action-esque, film at the end, and so the action again is the standout. And so I said, and it's been a struggle to get each one made. And I'm thinking if I just would have done action in the beginning that appealed to a larger majority of people, women, children, adults, men, women, I probably, would be where I need to be right now. But bottom line is that was the process of kind of getting to this point, you know. Yeah.
well, congratulations on everything again, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.